Her mother told you weren't the father and you... Doyle, you want to go and get the result?
Real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Matthew Anka says when he started dating the defendant, he had no idea she was addicted to pain pills. Matthew claims throughout their 4-year relationship, the defendant cheated on him with 10 different men, including his childhood best friend. And he's suing her today for breach of contract. Defendant Tara Alvarez says 6 months into their relationship, both she and Matthew were addicted to pills, and Matthew often used her drug addiction to control her. Tara claims not only did Matthew isolate her from her family, but he also bribed her with drugs, and she denies owing him for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, me and Tara started dating about 2011 till about 2015. In that time, wasn't quite aware that she was, a mild addict at that point. I was taking painkillers for bad back injury. I've had surgeries, whatnot. Started noticing, started going missing, some of my pills. Confronted her several times, denied, obviously.
During that time, what type of behavior did you notice?
Honestly, in the beginning, it wasn't too bad, just things went missing, just pills went missing, that's all. So, moving forward, about 2012, 2013, I got a phone call from one of her friends, actually. Found out Tara cheated with my best friend from childhood. He was a low-level cocaine dealer. She was doing coke and meth with him. And
wow.
Oh, yeah. Throughout a relationship, she ended up cheating.
How did you find all that out? She was doing coke and crystal meth with him.
She told me.
Go ahead.
Continuing on through our relationship, she ended up cheating on me with about 10 guys total.
That's what I was about to tell you, sir. It was just more than him. If she was hooked on, if
and
she
all
was
without
with
condoms.
men for coke and meth. She wasn't the only man, but
oh, yeah.
She was with to get coke and meth. Go ahead.
So she did end up going to rehab about April 2015 or so. In June 2015, she came to my house when I was at work. We were going to try to work things out, supposedly. Went to therapy, whopping 3 times for 4 years of her cheating.
How did that work during the therapy sessions?
I was wanting to keep going, but she thought 3 times was enough.
Okay, let me hear from you, ma'am.
I did meet Matt in 2011, Your Honor. I do admit that I was addicted to painkillers at that time. I was a drug addict, full force.
How did you get caught up in that?
Originally I got a prescription from a doctor for something, who knows what, maybe teeth, I don't know what originally.
Pain?
Yeah, exactly, legit pain. And, grew fond of painkillers at that time. I learned he liked pills as well. We'd get them together and everything. He didn't know I was addicted yet at that time. But within 6 months into our relationship, he became addicted too, and it became our entire life. It was our entire life. We fought day and night about it. He started using my addiction as control, basically. He isolated me from anyone and everyone in my life at the time that I had a good relationship with. He loves power. He's a power-hungry man. That's it. He wants control of somebody, and if he has that, he's validated in life. So he controlled me. He used it. He would bribe me. We would break up. He would literally call me and say, "Hey, I want to go to Sun River?" I said, "No." He said, "I'll bring 32 pills. You can have 16 of them." He would bribe me in those ways to get me to keep me in his life.
Really?
He was my enabler, 100%. He supported me. I couldn't afford that. Pills are expensive.
Right.
Well, because you never went out and got a job.
All right, let's move on. How does she owe you?
She owes me $4,000 in the amount of $100 a month starting November 1st, 2015 for back rent, a couple loans, and some
When did the
stolen
rent
items.
begin, and how much was it, and how long did she live with you without paying?
I'd like to know too. I have no idea what these details are about to be. I don't even know what I was supposed to pay in rent.
Well, that's funny because we did have an agreement at one of the other apartments.
Tell me the
the breakdown. So, 2013, she owes $300 a month from August to December. 2014 for January. 2014 September through December, and so it was.
And so while you all were living together, As you just said, she didn't work. You know she was a drug addict, so you know she just didn't have money laying around, particularly she didn't work. How did you expect her to pay rent? Because I'm sure watch this. Did you agree to pay rent?
No. When I moved
really?
In,
So
when I moved
how
in.
did you,
No.
what would make you believe she could pay you rent? A woman that didn't work and was hooked on drugs.
Well, we talked about, for one, we had an agreement. We lived at a previous apartment where she was paying $300 a month. Even that she thought was way too much because I made
Before
more
her
than
drug addiction?
During
During her
then-
drug addiction, she paid $300 a
Correct.
month somewhere else. Was
Correct.
she working then?
Yeah, she was working then.
All right, but at some point she stopped working and was on drugs at the same time. Were you expecting your rent money then?
Absolutely.
All right, what would you say?
Basically, where's the rent?
Daddy always helps you.
You're right.
And
I
you
come
know
from a
that.
good
Where'd your down
family.
payment for your house come from? Daddy. Where'd your car come from? Daddy. Where'd your job
No,
come
actually, the
from?
car came
Daddy.
from me.
Everything came from Daddy. You've
Really?
never done
My house came
anything.
from my dad.
He's
Yeah.
never worked?
That's funny because my credit was good enough to buy it. I had
Okay,
the down
we're
payment,
getting off.
all this.
Like, who
no,
cares?
no, no,
You're the
you
one
wanna-
got into
you wanna
it.
go- You want to go
But
through
we're
this.
getting
wanna
off
go back
subject now. You're
Yeah.
the one
That you
blaming the
supposedly
man's
say.
success
It's funny.
on his daddy giving him everything.
Yeah.
Did he go to work?
Yeah.
Oh,
sometimes
funny.
he got injured
Sometimes.
every other week and would be at
It's
home
every
getting paid
other
to be at
week. All
home.
right.
Judge Mathis will be right back.
We agreed I wouldn't get a job because he was about to have major back surgery and he needed a caretaker. I was a
Caretaker who
caretaker.
was stealing all my painkillers? Yeah, that's what I signed up for.
Sir.
You did sign up for it.
Sir.
You asked me to move in. I didn't.
Sir, she was weaning you off. Go ahead.
I didn't.
And later,
You screen your calls, all right? You
No,
got
he
it going
handed
on.
it to me because he did not recognize the number.
Okay.
So he wanted me to answer, which I put it on speaker.
So he has you as his assistant. Go ahead. I'm not going to try to figure that out. All right. For some reason, you answered the phone. I grew up in Detroit, the tough city, but there's a lot of love here. And I carry that tough love with me as a judge. And I still keep it real, hearing real cases with real people from my courtroom in Chicago. I'm Judge Mathis.
defendant Tara Alvarez says while dating the plaintiff, they were both addicted to pain pills, and the plaintiff used her drug addiction to control her.
Folks that are jealous of my kids, that's what they say. Your daddy gave you everything. Well, my two daughters are lawyers, and I can't give them the answers to that bar exam.
That's right.
Let's start there.
Okay, he
My
dropped out of high
son works
school.
at the U.S. Senate. I can't convince a politician to hire somebody who doesn't know how to get along with people. My other son is a television producer, very strenuous and hard work, and he went to the one of the best performing arts and broadcast schools in the country. He was one of the tops in his class. They gave him the senior film production executive producer responsibility. I couldn't give him that. So just because they got a few extra things from their dad, don't suggest that this man isn't earning his way. You tell me about the 4,000.
He supported me. He was my boyfriend. When I moved in July into this house in July of 2013, we agreed I wouldn't get a job because he was about to have major back surgery and he needed a caretaker. I was a caretaker.
Who was stealing all my painkillers? Yeah, that's what I signed up for.
Sir.
You did sign up for it.
Sir.
You asked me to move in. I didn't.
Sir, she was weaning you off. Go ahead.
I didn't.
That's a true drug addict, I guess.
Go ahead, ma'am.
He took
you
more
were
than
his
me.
You were his caretaker. Go ahead.
I was his caretaker. I did everything. I was the at-home wife. I did all the cleaning, all the cooking,
All right.
all the
You were on meth.
everything.
All right.
I was not
How long
on
you been in
meth.
recovery, man?
I was not on meth. I've been
How long
clean for
have
a
you
year
been
and a
in
half. I went to
recovery?
treatment March 31st of 2015.
Really? Drug test her right now. I guarantee she has
quiet,
weed
sir.
in her system and she
Of
drank last night.
2015.
Drug test me
So-
right now.
Yeah, you've been totally
I
clean.
get the impression that she's clean, sir.
I have a job.
I say
have a
drug
job.
tester.
I'm off probation. I graduated my probation, finished all of that, paid every single fine I owe on my probation off. Everything is
I
done.
know the difference between
all I
a dope
want is
fiend and a
this to be
recovering
behind
addict.
me.
I know the difference, and you give me the impression you're a recovering addict. Now, whether she relapses from time to time, I get the impression she still tries and is still in recovery, versus a dope fiend who don't want to try, who don't want to get in recovery. They just want to come in here and lie to my face and make a fool out of me, and that's why I have to call them a dope fiend or a crackhead. If they come in like her, say that they've been trying, they signed up for recovery, this and that and the other, then you're a recovering addict, regardless of what relapses you might have from time to time. Stay strong. Good luck to you. But you have any evidence of this 4,000?
Yes, I do.
She doesn't know you. What is
a promissory note signed by her and myself.
All right, now, ma'am, don't disappoint me with a dope fiend lie. So did you sign this?
Under duress, I did, yes.
You did sign it. All
God.
right. What duress made you sign this? What did he do to you make you sign this?
He threatened me,
Oh,
like
how?
always. That's not the first one I've signed.
How?
That's not the first one I've signed.
Threatened to do what?
Threatened to tell my boyfriend at the time that I cheated on him with Matt. Because
Really?
Matt hates cheaters so much, but yet he was willing to be the guy that was cheating.
Did you tell the boyfriend?
No,
No,
Why?
I did.
Hold on.
not my business.
But you threatened to?
No, absolutely
You
not.
never said, I'll tell your boyfriend.
No.
You have any proof of that? A text or
I
anything?
did. Oh, I had,
Oh, you
I
did?
had everything.
A
and I lost
communication
my phone.
between the two of you where he said that? You have nothing
No.
to prove that? Because the burden is on you to prove that you signed this under duress because he provides me with this. You have no proof to show that, so the presumption is this stands, ma'am. So judgment for the plaintiff, 4,000. Good luck to you in your continued recovery. I believe you're on that path. I'm not going to drug test you. You may have had a relapse last night. But go ahead, judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get out of my life now. Leave me alone. Go get a life. Stop your obsession over me.
I have a great one, Tara.
Go
I go to
on.
school, I work. How is
Good
living
for
at
you.
your
Good for
stepdaddy's
you.
basement
Good for you.
working at a tanning salon?
Good for you.
Yeah?
Yeah, so
You like
what do you
being
want
broke?
to do with me? Then why? Why are
Nothing.
you desperate to see me?
I'm not desperate to
You just
see
told
you
me
at
last
all.
night.
You're disgusting.
Really? Really? Matt begged me to hang out with him while we came
Oh
here.
my Christ. Okay, let's look at the text messages.
Yeah, please.
Let's do it
Please.
right now. Did you
Really?
want to grab dinner after all settled?
That's you. That's your message.
You're right. I asked you.
What are you talking about?
I begged you. Huh?
I didn't answer or say yes or no, then why keep asking?
Plaintiff Clyde Williams says he and the defendant dated the same man. But Clyde never met the defendant in person until he came to Clyde's home and attacked him. Clyde claims the defendant assaulted him after overhearing a phone conversation between Clyde and his ex. So he's suing for medical bills and pain and suffering. Defendant Eric McKinney says Clyde does not have a grip on reality because he's a heavy drinker who's also addicted to crack. Eric claims on the day in question, Clyde instigated the fight by becoming aggressive with Eric and his boyfriend. And Eric simply fought back in self-defense. He's countersuing for pain and suffering.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, I don't know the defendant. Excuse me.
When's the first time you met him?
I met him the day that he assaulted me.
Okay. And when was that? What month and year?
This was on January the 7th, 2016.
All right. Tell me the circumstances upon which you all met.
Me and the defendant used to date the same young man at different points in times. We always kept a good relationship, good friendship, and he overheard a conversation that I was having on the phone with my ex-boyfriend, and I think he got a little bit jealous or something, and he ended up coming to my home.
How do you think he knew where you lived?
My ex-boyfriend brought him to my home.
Why? Just to prove that we're not dating, or?
I don't know if it was to prove that we're not dating, or I don't know if it was for a fight. I don't know what he came there for.
You hadn't done anything to the ex-boyfriend.
No, me and the ex-boyfriend probably had a little slight argument
over the issue of the phone call.
Us being together, and the reason why we wasn't together. That's kind of what the argument was.
Now let's back up. You and your ex, his current, were on the phone. He overheard something he didn't like, and then he came to your house. Why?
I don't know if it was a point he had to prove. I don't know why.
And what happened?
Both of them came to my home. I was sitting home with a couple of friends, having a couple of drinks. And when I got to the door, me and the defendant, we started arguing at the door. One of my friends jumped in to defuse the situation, but as him defusing the situation, he hit my friend and knocked him out. And then once he hit him, he hit me. And once I fell to the ground, I got kicked in the face.
The case continues after this.
So he said, let's go. I just got off the phone with him. But hey, you know, a year ago, I left my Gucci. Just dawned on me. So let's go over there now.
And still to come, the fraternity test results.
Her mom basically sat me down and told me that, well, now that London healed and she's able to go back to work, she told me that the baby might not be yours or wasn't yours, and basically telling me my services wasn't needed anymore.
He caused the gate. She had called on herself that year and had her kids removed.
So she said, hey, CPS, come investigate me. I set my child in the street.
That's Judge Mathis.
What time you met him?
I met him the day that he assaulted me.
Plaintiff Clyde Williams says he and the defendant dated the same man, but Clyde never met the defendant in person until the day he came to Clyde's house and attacked him.
Okay. Sir, you give me some background.
Mr. Williams' perception of reality is distorted due to the fact that he abuses drugs and alcohol and has for quite a while.
What type of drugs?
Crack. Mr. Williams is aggressive,
Are you a crack
violent,
addict?
I've never
irrational,
smoked crack,
and he does not show ownership for his own violent actions.
Okay, so tell me on the day in question what happened.
On the day in question, he was actually blocked from calling my boyfriend at the time. He called via his cousin's phone, and I was the one on the phone.
You don't let your boyfriend answer the phone.
No, he handed it.
That's your program. If that's your program, and he goes with it.
Why do you want to talk to him?
Yeah, you screen your calls. All right, you got it going on.
He handed it to me because he did not recognize the number. So he wanted me to answer, which I put it on speaker.
So he has you as his assistant. Go ahead, I'm not going to try to figure that out. All right, for some reason, you answered the phone.
Yeah, and at the time, when they were in a relationship, they were in a car wreck. And so years went by through of litigation, and they finally both of them were paid off. He was calling to find out whether or not my boyfriend received his check. After the phone call, he wanted to stop by and pick up some belongings that he had, which was a Gucci bag and some other.
How long had he had those belongings? How long ago had he left them?
From my understanding, over a time period of a year.
He had the belongings for a year.
Yeah.
And just coincidentally, when you all got off the phone with him, you said, oh, let's go get what you left over there a year ago.
Yeah, because when we started.
Right. So he said, let's go. I just got off the phone with him. But hey, you know, a year ago, I left my Gucci. Just dawned on me. So let's go over there now. And just so happened, a big fight ensues. But I'll let you tell me the rest. You decided to go by and pick up the Gucci that had been there for a year. Yes. And what happened?
We went there. I was in the car. My boyfriend went to the door. When Mr. Williams noticed that I turned up the radio and I was inside
outside in the car?
Yes. He started to get aggressive towards my boyfriend.
He said what?
I distinctively heard him say, why did you bring that?
How could you hear if the music was blasting in the car?
Because I had, when I initially turned it up. When I initially turned it up, I turned it up too much. So I had lowered it.
Oh, okay. Just so happened. when the insult came, you lowered the music that had been too loud. I got it, sir. I'm just I'm repeating what you're telling me. Okay, then what happened?
And I was observing their body language towards each other. And so my boyfriend did not back down. It's just not indicative.
So
of
what
his
happened?
character.
I don't need to know your boyfriend's character and all that. I know what's happening. He didn't play both y'all. So let's get to what happened that day. I don't need to know about his character. I already know that. Go ahead.
I got out to retrieve my boyfriend and tell him that we'll go about getting his belongings some other type of way. At this point, Mr. Williams rushes towards me, like gets in my face to the point where we're bumping chests, proceeded to push me by the temple of my head, and I'm a little flabbergasted because I mean I can't believe that somebody is actually putting their hands on me. Like, so, you know, at first, you know, I smacked his hand away.
Then the fight started.
The third time when I exerted myself and got louder and insulted him, he proceeded to take off his hoodie. When he did, I noticed that one pocket was weighed down. I heard like rumbling of metal, and I took the opportunity and I pushed him. When I pushed him,
rumbling of metal.
Yeah.
What do you think that?
To be quite honest with you, like, I've played with the idea in my head. I mean, it could have been keys and chains.
Got it. Okay, go ahead. You heard the rumbling of metal, and then what happened?
I pushed him. And when I pushed him, because he was intoxicated.
You pushed him, and what happened?
He fell. And he got back up and started to charge towards me. At that point, his heel hit his front toe, and he stumbled a little, and I took the opportunity and I
kicked him. All right, and how did it end? That's how it ended?
He went unconscious at that point.
Okay, so it was over at that point.
Stay tuned for today's paternity case.
How old is the child? 15? I'm not gonna let you do that. Is she here today, or she may watch this show, right?
She's here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you do that to her mother. Particularly you sitting here talking about whether you the daddy or not.
And that's something that I'm trying to get clear up upstairs, basically.
I know.
And it's like
15 years later. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Judge Greg Mathis.
House and attacked him.
Did you press charges against him?
He won.
So you did press charges?
Yes.
And you lost?
Yes.
And so now I have to decide who I believed. You pressed charges and he was exonerated. So you're trying to sue someone who was exonerated. However, that was a criminal case. You must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Today, all you have to prove is more likely than not. It's less of a burden. So you have a police report that describes what happened. So far, my presumption is that he is not guilty. But you can provide me with enough information where I can make my own decision, despite what the criminal case ended up being. The defendant started a physical fight, altercation with the victim, which ended in the defendant rendering the victim unconscious. And this is your statement to the police? Yes. All right. Did he speak with the police anytime thereafter?
I have no idea.
Did you, sir?
I was arrested a week after that.
Okay, but you didn't give like a report or a statement to the police?
No.
Okay. You have any other evidence indicating that he might have been the aggressor? That's what I need. Who started it? That's what determines the outcome when there is a fight.
This is how.
The person who started it is the one who is guilty, unless the person being victimized had an opportunity to walk away and they didn't. They just said, well, I'm not going to walk away. Then you no longer are a victim of an aggressor. You are a mutual engaged fighter. And what is this and who is it from?
That's a statement of everything that took place on that day.
Who is this from?
From my niece.
She saw what went on?
No.
All right. Now, you have any other evidence of someone, independent evidence of someone who said he made the first strike? Anything showing that he was a threat?
No, all I have is my report that I wrote and my bills and pictures.
Okay, he's suing for pain and suffering for the same amount. So what happened to you that he should pay for?
30 minutes after this incident took place, I was at my boyfriend's house. He called his family members, informing them of my location, and eventually led to me being stabbed.
How do you know he did? How do you know he called?
But with it, I mean, there was his cousins, and they just showed up.
They didn't know about you?
No,
they didn't know you existed.
Any one of them.
They didn't know you existed. Okay, so you tell me about that. Did your relatives who went to attack him know him at all, to your knowledge?
No.
They didn't know him?
You
don't know whether they knew him?
No. Well, honestly, no, they didn't know him.
They didn't know him?
They didn't know him.
So what would cause them to go and attack a man they don't know?
They didn't attack. They didn't go and find him. What happened was the ex-boyfriend.
Did they go where he was?
No, they met up. Both parties met.
What caused them to meet?
Because his ex-boyfriend texts my family saying how I had just got beat up and just got knocked out, and that's what started.
So his ex-boyfriend knew your family.
Yes.
Texted them.
Yes.
And said something out of the way,
Yes.
slick. And so that's when your family say, well, let's go get the guy who beat you. You don't know what happened.
I know how.
All right. Is it true that your boyfriend texted his family?
No.
All right. Anyone have any evidence of that? Statement from a relative?
Your Honor.
What's that?
This is a statement. Actually, everything that took place.
Who is it from?
My niece Victoria.
Is she one of the relatives that he says came over there?
She was one of them.
Okay, there we go. On such and such, I received a text message at 3:55 saying, Clyde just got completely knocked out and left in front of his apartment by my boyfriend. So this is his boyfriend.
Yeah.
Texting your niece.
Because they was friends.
Your niece.
Yes.
All right. And as a result, your niece perhaps went over there to get him because of this text. That could be the case. All you know is you didn't do it.
Yeah.
All right. So your claim is dismissed. He did nothing. You haven't been able to prove he did anything to have his family come and whoop you. This shows that your boyfriend sent a text bragging about what you had done, and that's why they came. So I'm going to dismiss your claim. He had nothing to do with that. Sir, you lost that claim against him in criminal court, but additionally, you haven't given me any independent information that indicates that he was the aggressor. So I have to dismiss your claim. Stop fighting over me and have a good day.
Just glad it's over. We can both go on. I can move on.
Nothing.
Plaintiff Alan Bettis says while dating the defendant, he caught her coming out of a bathroom with two men and suspected that she was cheating. Alan says he has doubts about being the biological father of the defendant's 15-year-old daughter because he was told by the defendant's mother that he was not her father. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test. Defendant Londa Roundtree insists Alan never questioned paternity until now, and he even signed the child's birth certificate. Londa says Alan left when their daughter was 3 months old, and she's suing him today for unpaid child support.
Let's start with you. Give me some background on this, sir.
Well, me and the defendant, Ms. Roundtree, we met in 2000, and we started a relationship which went on strong. And during the relationship, job court thing, I worked food service, she worked detail. So I'm coming in from doing this and doing that. Just walked in a door and happened to see her and two other guys that on detail walk out the bathroom, men's bathroom door behind her.
What did you think was going on?
Sex. I mean, you're coming out with two guys.
All right, that's what you believed happened.
Yeah.
All right, and you saw your woman doing that, and you stayed with her?
I wanted to leave the situation.
I'm talking about what you did do.
I stayed with her.
Okay. And anybody that got with a woman after that, that must have excited them when they saw it. Something. It sure didn't turn you off.
Still to come, the results of the paternity test.
Light bulb came on. This might not be my child. I've been wasting 6 months a year for 15 years. What was I thinking?
Quote unquote.
He called CPS on me.
Did they investigate?
She had called on herself that year and had her kids removed.
So she said, hey, CPS, come investigate me. I set my child in the street.
That's Judge Mathis.
Get a top brand refrigerator starting at just $19.99 a week, all without credit. Only at Rent-A-Center.
Secondhand smoke caused me to have asthma attacks, infections, and lung damage, and I never smoked.
If you or someone you know wants free help to quit.
Plaintiff is the father of her 15-year-old daughter, but the plaintiff has his doubts, so he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
You want to give me some background?
Yes, Your Honor. I met the plaintiff in child court, like he said. We were actually, they take you to the movies, and I went to the movies by myself, and I actually met Alan while at the movies. That's how I met him.
Okay. Did he ever mention what he's saying today to you?
No,
This is the first time you've heard this?
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard this about the bathroom situation.
All right, so tell me thank you.
Thank you for
No, tell me thank you.
I'm sorry.
You see, I just tore him apart on your behalf. I wasn't gonna let that man just say that about you. She look like a church lady. She ain't do all that.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
And that's what attracted me to her. She, you know what I'm saying? I mean, nice lady.
Church lady that comes out the bathroom with two men. Come on, man. Let's move on. Let's move on. Leave that alone, man. Leave that alone. All right, so you all began dating. Whatever reason, you all began dating. And how was that, dating her?
It was up and down. It was like doubts and he say, she say, and people coming back to me about this and that.
Saying that she was cheating or whatever?
Basically that people was coming to her dorm room on a nightly basis, basically.
Cheating?
Yeah, creeping.
Don't go into all this now, because I'm not going to let you, you see right now, I'm not going to let you make this woman seem like the worst type of woman.
I can't say
You all
that.
have a child, or alleged. How old is the child, 15? I'm not going to let you do that. Is she here today, or she may watch this show,
She's
right?
here.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you do that to her mother. Particularly if you sitting here talking about whether you the daddy or not.
And that's something that I'm trying to get clear up upstairs, basically.
I know.
And it's like
15 years later.
No.
Okay.
It's like I'm gonna try and step up to the plate. I ain't gonna go by that he say, she say, who said this.
Why did you all break up?
Her mom basically sat me down because we moved in after the baby was born, 3 months after the baby was born. Her mom basically sat me down and told me that, well, now that London healed and she's able to go back to work, she told me that the baby might not be yours, I wasn't yours, and basically telling me my services wasn't needed anymore.
What did you think she meant?
How tell?
Her mother told you weren't the father, and
Yes.
that's why you...
No, I stuck around for a week because I had a little side.
A week?
I was in a town away from my usual surroundings. I was in a town away from my usual
You
surroundings.
stayed around a week.
Until my family member came to come get me and just take me away from all that, because it was crazy.
And you haven't been around since, or paid any
No,
money since?
I drove out there to pick up, even though they said what they said, still making an effort, because I used to pick up and keep the baby.
How often per year over the course of 15 years?
Ooh-wee.
Average.
Yeah, it's an average.
I'm asking you what the average is.
But sometimes it'll be a drought because of my...
All right, drought. Include the drought in the average.
I had legal issues which...
All right, include that. Include the legal issues.
About 6 months out of a year, I kept communication.
All right, for 15 years.
Yeah.
He says he's been in touch 6 months out the year for 15 years, but something just came to light suddenly. Light bulb came on. This not might not be my child. I've been wasting 6 months a year for 15 years. What was I thinking?
Quote unquote.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, the story that he's claiming that my mom said to him is not true. Actually, my mom has a statement here. My mom did not tell him that our daughter does not look like him.
Okay, you tell me what's going on, man.
He had got on at a chicken plant.
How long after the child was born?
Right before I had her, he had got on at the job.
He was living with you all?
He was living with my mom and me and my stepdad. And he did not stay on the job long. He quit the job. And my mom did not say that he was not the father. His name is on our daughter's birth certificate.
Sir, is that true?
That's not true
Okay,
at all.
sir, that's enough. I just asked a very easy question. Is your name on the baby's birth certificate?
Yes, my
you
name's
said
on the birth,
no.
No, my name's on the birth
Yes,
certificate.
the answer is yes.
Not true.
The answer is yes. That's all I want to know from you, sir.
And coming up, the paternity test results.
I work overtime when I can get it. I need my blood sugar to stay in control, so I ask about Traceba. Traceba is a once-daily, long-acting insulin that lasts even...
He insists the plaintiff is the father of her 15-year-old daughter. But the plaintiff has his doubts, so he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
Go ahead, ma'am. So, how long after the baby was born did he leave?
He left when she was almost 3 months old.
Why did he tell you he was leaving?
The reason why he left is because Alan had attitude issues. And I can't deal with stuff like that.
Did he spend 6 months a year with her for 15 years?
No, sir.
How often would he be with the child?
When Sabrina was almost 5 years old, I took her to Greenville, Mississippi.
Prior to that, he had not spent any time with her?
From 3 months until she was almost 5. Then in June of 2014, I drove from Cordova, Tennessee to Las Vegas, Nevada, where he resides, and we was there for a little over a month. I do not talk to Alan over the phone because he disrespects me and calls me out of my name.
Why do you think he does that?
And I have proof.
What do you have there?
That's why I tried to message him on Facebook. I called him a deadbeat dad, and he responded back to me and told me that he proudly represents it.
Said he proudly represents that.
Proudly represents it, and
being
I
a
can
deadbeat
take it
dad.
to, and I can
you
take
may
it
be
to
right. You're
child
not
support.
the one here seeing the look and expression on your daughter's face. You're such a deadbeat and proudly represent it too.
And he told me I can take it to child support, and I can put it on Facebook.
So obviously you haven't paid because you don't believe the child is yours.
No.
Why haven't you paid?
I haven't been, you know what I'm saying, I lost my job in 2009. I've been going through legal issues. I have been tangoing. That's why I don't have proof. Video chatting with my daughter. And every time I get on video chat, she's always in the camera.
How much have you paid over 15 years, do you believe? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. They used to take out of my check, but at the same time, I just didn't even calculate.
Do you have any document indicating
I didn't even calculate.
Okay, well, Child Support Services, unless you show that Child Support Services calculated it, ma'am. I don't know if I can give your...
I have a court order as well, Judge Mathis.
All right, let's see the order.
From
and
2004.
he says they've been taking it out of his check. And so, what years do you know of them taking it out of your check?
2007, 2008.
And you didn't fight it because what?
I didn't lay up with the government, you know what I'm saying? I ain't lay up with nobody but this woman right here.
Right,
so
and that's why I'm asking, why are you refusing or fighting or questioning that she's your daughter so that you wouldn't owe $9,752?
Ducking and dodging, had a life, married, doing my part, you know what I'm saying? She's saying that
doing your part on what?
being mentally there for my kid. And trying to, you know,
so you believed it was your child.
Myself to be.
So you believed it was your child.
From word of mouth, and yes, I signed the birth certificate at first. Yeah, I'm doubting everything that people are saying.
What changed that belief? 15
Listening to her,
what did
believing
she
and
say?
trusting in a person.
What did she say?
Actions speak louder than words.
What did she do?
Actions speak louder than words. She brought her out there in 2014. And what happened? She dipped on me. I'm like, can you drop off so she can spend some time with me so I can take her shop? Hold on, so you had your lives. So I could take her shopping and stuff like that, get her sized up and stuff like that. She was in Vegas. She was in my, you know what I'm saying, where I can be there for her.
I bet you next time you'll let him go shopping. Therefore, he won't deny 15 years later that the child is his because you didn't let the child go shopping.
No.
Go on, get the thing, man.
Go ahead.
Sir, you don't know how ridiculous you're coming across today.
The results of the paternity test when we return. And on the next Judge Mathis.
He called CPS on me.
Did they investigate?
She had called on herself that year and had her kids removed.
So she said, hey, CPS, come investigate me. I set my child in the street.
That's Judge Mathis.
Although the financial crisis was some years back,
her 15-year-old daughter. But the plaintiff has his doubts, so he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
All right.
Instead of bringing her in the next town.
Yeah. And you're still questioning because you went to the next town was at age 15. All right. So, let him read it. Okay. You might get off. You might not. What did it say?
I am the father.
Oh! Judgment for the defendant. Ma'am, next time, let her go shopping with him so I don't have to go through this. Have a good day.
I'm sorry, but it's your mom and her mom that kept me just having doubts about you.
Ain't nobody kept you from seeing her.
Shawty, you lied on saying that what your mom said and what I sat down and y'all told me. And you sitting up there crying and doing all that. And if you want to talk to me, I'm in Vegas. You want to come live with me? Come live with me.